What's going on, guys? It's Thomas, joined by Mac and PJ as always. And we're back 2 weeks in a row, baby. We're keeping the streak going. Welcome to episode 62 of Nintendo Tonight. We are so back. We're just so back. I mean, we were gone for... We won't even talk about it. We won't bring up the dark ages. Nintendo Tonight is back on a weekly schedule. Also, this is fresh off my mind, so I wanted to say it. If you are not subscribed to the Nintendo Tonight YouTube channel with notification bell on, we would highly, highly, highly recommend you do so, because we are making some banger segments, like fully edited segments of the podcast.
Almost YouTube videos themselves.
They are.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. I mean, the people have been saying, they're like, even sometimes people say better than switched off videos. I don't know if, it's 50-50, but there's some bangers. They're really, really funny. And unlike switched off videos that are kind of more focused on the content itself, I think the beauty of these is it's also more of our personality. I think there's actually a lot of really good content coming out on the Nintendo Tonight channel that I'm super stoked for. So notification bell on if you are, interested in that at all. I think it, would help out a lot. It goes a long way. And yeah, so besides that, enough plugging for the first minute of the episode. Let's jump in. What are we actually here to talk about? I'm hearing some rumblings. I don't know if you guys have...
More Switch 2 leaks.
Yeah, Mac is such a hater. He's such a hater. If there's ever a leak, he thinks
I'm
it's
just
from
a realist.
dailymail.com. He just thinks it's dailymail.com. It's okay.
We'll see.
I mean, it's like, I don't know. I see where you're coming from, but also there's kind of the... I know this is a dumb way to phrase it, because it's like, well, if everyone jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? But like, if everyone believes the leak, like if IGN is reporting multiple articles on it, Digital Foundry is saying it might be, it's almost definitely real. I don't know. We'll talk about it all when we get into it, but Switch 2 leak, we're talking about it. Consoles hopefully being announced somewhat soon, so we can stop talking about the leaks and start talking about what we actually know. But then after that, PJ has cooked up a banger contest for us today. I'm hearing it's some form of bracket, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if PJ, you want to tease it a little more than that, or if we just keep them blind.
A little this, a little that. You know how it goes.
All right, okay, that's all we're hearing.
It's a hint. It's a hint. You know.
Hint. Okay. See, I actually don't know, so
I've been blind to the whole thing. I have no clue what's coming up.
Yeah, so Mac and I are about to get blindsided, so stay tuned for that. But first, there is some Nintendo Switch 2 stuff we got to talk about. So we've gotten so many Switch 2 leaks in our day, but this is the first one that everyone is saying, yeah, this is probably legit. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. We got some CAD renders and some physical pictures of the hardware, but the first thing I want to talk about is this right Joy-Con. It appears to have a secondary button underneath the home button. It's squared just like the screenshot button, but I do not think that is a second screenshot button. If Nintendo decided to put a screenshot button on both Joy-Con, I would freak out. It's way more important to have a home button on either one rather than two abilities to screenshot and record clips. So I don't know. This is a brand new button. I'm assuming it'll have a new function. If I had to guess, I'm thinking that this button might pull up like a social menu so you can join different parties and stuff. Maybe they're revamping Switch Online. I'm not entirely sure. I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts, though, because it's funny that like a new button is what has us speculating, but there's like potential here for this to be pretty important.
I'm trying to see like what the shape exactly is on that button. It to me from here, it kind of looks like a bell of some sort, which would make sense if it's like social. But I do think it's weird that it's on the same side as the home button, because like as you said, another home button on both Joy-Cons just makes so much more sense, because like playing on the left Joy-Con not being able to hit the home button is like kind of a crucial misstep, I think, with the original Joy-Cons.
Yeah, especially for games. I don't know if they do a lot of these games anymore, but kind of early on in the Switch's life cycle, I guess. I'll give an example, because recently I played Let's Go Pikachu, and that game is you can either use the Pokeball Plus or you can use a Joy-Con. And it's like if you're playing with the left Joy-Con, say your right one's dead, you're playing with the left Joy-Con, it's like you can't go to the home button. It's like you have to take it out of the dock, you have to put it back in, and then like it's just annoying. So definitely, I mean, if we had a home button on both Joy-Cons, that'd be sick. Like, it's so convenient. Honestly, I hope they do that.
Yeah, that would be dope. Besides that, just looking at this controller. Oh, if you go back to the controller for a sec, Jack, we have something I did want to point out, and this is like kind of small but somewhat interesting. And again, these are mock-up renders, so it's not entirely like there is like a hole in the middle of the Joy-Con railing. I'm not necessarily sure if that could be like something for like a controller periphery or something like that you connect to the controller. But we just don't know, and so it's, there's not too much you can talk about with that. But the triggers, the SL and SR buttons, which are the triggers on the Joy-Con for when you're using single Joy-Con play, those things are an absolute nightmare on Switch 1 to actually hit. It looks like they've been raised on Switch 2, which is definitely a good thing for anyone using single Joy-Con.
They look about the size of like the buttons when you have the railing on them, like what is it? The wrist strap.
The wrist strap.
It looks like those, which I think are much better than the original Joy-Con. I'm assuming that middle thing is just like the player count number, like lights that are on the original Joy-Con. It does look a little weird because it looks like it's like indented, but
it
I
almost
do
looked
think
like
that's
a
what
charging
that is.
port or something at first, but
It could be a charging port, but I think that's kind of a backward step if we're adding like a charging
we'll get
port
into
to a
that.
Joy-Con.
Yeah, we'll get into that because I mean there were a couple things here that I kind of saw and I was like, why is this like this? And I think in terms of going backwards, like they might have done this. Now we see the USB-C on the bottom here, which is great, but I've seen actually apparently there's another USB-C port up top, which is kind of confusing. A lot of people have said like, I wonder if that's going to be for a camera peripheral or something like that. And the first time I heard that, I was thinking, okay, so we had a camera on the 3DS. And I was thinking like of a camera peripheral. And it's like, are we really going back to the Game Boy camera days? Like, what are we really doing here? Like, I have no idea. I don't know where they're going with that. But do you guys think there's going to be some sort of extra peripheral that Nintendo's going to release along with this?
I've heard a lot of people talk about that this may be like a Switch that could go inside like a VR thing. And that may be where it like plugs in or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm not totally sold on that, but I honestly having two charging ports I don't think is a terrible idea. Just like, if you want to charge like a Pro controller while you're playing, I think that's fair. Or even like wired play. I don't think that's something that they would particularly do, but I think the extra option isn't a bad idea.
I think it's a cool idea. Having a USB-C port on the top of the new Switch, it's a cool idea because then, as you were saying, PJ, if they added like peripherals, you could add maybe even a second screen that clips on and gets the power from the base Switch, or just a camera.
Nintendo DS
like
Online? Nintendo DS Online?
That would be
Imagine.
sick, man. That would be sick. Realistically, it might just be so that you can charge the Switch while you're in tabletop mode, because like you straight up couldn't do that with the base Switch. But who knows? I mean, it's another port, so it's gonna make the console like maybe a little more expensive, if anything, but probably not. Like it's just good to add. It's another option. So
yeah.
I mean, they're still gonna beat out Sony with that disastrous PS5 Pro price. So I mean, hey, we're winning over here. So
ridiculous. What is it? $700 plus?
Yeah, it's like $799 US. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And I'm pretty sure they're making you buy the stand too, and it doesn't come with. I'm pretty sure that's the case. It's
ridiculous.
It's so silly. Yeah.
Utterly absurd.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the next image of these leaks. Oh yeah, so
there's the port. Okay.
There's the port up top.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. All right. So the back, this looks pretty standard to me. Obviously, the main thing here is we are having the kickstand from the Switch OLED, which is kind of that wide base design rather than just the one like Switch kickstand off to the side that's super flimsy. So this all looks good to me. And also the buttons on the back of the Joy-Con, which are used to like slide the Joy-Con on and off, they seem to be a lot bigger and more out, less recessed into the controller. They also come out from the side rather than just being flush on the back under the trigger. This looks to be a little bit more ergonomic, and also there have been like rumblings that the Switch 2 Joy-Con are going to be using magnets to kind of stay in place like sturdier. Mm-hmm. This could be a point towards that, and we're going to see some more stuff in the actual models that looks like that. But this could be a point towards that because I don't know, bigger button probably doesn't.
That is much, one of the main things I've seen from this Switch leak like model is the mechanism the Joy-Cons actually attach looks a lot different. That's like one of the major like visual things you see about this Switch. Like compared to the OLED, that's basically the only thing that looks different here.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah, we could just,
all right, let's move to the next one. Okay, so now we are able to see some actual internals, and this is why I believe Digital Foundry themselves, who, if you don't know, they are basically the guys when it comes to like the more technical aspects of video games. They do all the performance like analysis, like more so reviews. They do a bunch of hardware breakdowns, that sort of thing. And they've been around for a while, and they said that this would be why this leak is real. The making an accurate like motherboard. They basically just said this would have to be like one of the most advanced fake leaks ever to like custom create a motherboard that works, you know, in turn. Like, I'm not sure how I don't look at that and say, oh yeah, this has to be real, because I don't know. But there are people who would look at that, and if the motherboard like didn't make sense mechanically, like if electronically it wasn't, you know, certain parts of it weren't in the right place, there would be people who look at that and be like, oh, this probably isn't real. But the people who are like, you know, known for looking at this sort of thing say it looks real. So that's just awesome. Like, that's, you know, the more confirmation than we've really had before. Obviously the big black like chasm on the left would be where the battery goes. Two things I wanted to point out about the Joy-Con themselves is, Mac, you can actually see the little LED lights on the side of the thing.
Side.
Interesting.
Yeah. So maybe there is actually a cable in the in this, you know, for where we thought those were before. And then also we just get another look that we don't really need, we already talked about this, but we get a nice little look at the what's it, like the other button, the social button or whatever. On the right Joy-Con. So just nice to see that there are clearly two buttons there, if this is real, which signs are pointing to it being real. We get an extra button, and there's just a lot of discussion about what that could be.
Yeah, the main thing I've kind of taken away from this so far is there's a lot of quality of life adds here, and kind of going from the Switch to the Switch 2, that is mainly what I was looking for, whether it's performance or just kind of like little things, like the bigger buttons on the back to take out the Joy-Con, because the other ones on like the original Switch were so damn small. And then even something so simple like this on the Joy-Con, to where you know, in the past, like on the original Switch, like you'd have to like turn the controller the other way to see like, you know, like what player is like has your controller or whatever, and now you can see it from the front side instead of having to turn it. So it's just like little things such as that I'm kind of impressed. And you know, it would make sense if it was real, like Thomas said, right? Like, we shall see. Let's hope.
Yeah, I've been a doomer when it comes to all of these leaks, but you know, this one I would give like a 65% chance being real. Just with it looks. There's a lot more going for it. Like you said, the motherboard, like the people that know, they know. So I think that could lead towards. I think the Joy-Cons, they look like what you would expect from an upgrade. Like if you look at the mechanism there, like it looks like they're going to be going internal instead of sliding this time, which I think is interesting. I think having magnetic Joy-Cons, I think, isn't a terrible idea. I think we were memeing it earlier this year, but like, I'm not opposed to that. I think that's kind of neat.
I think it's definitely the way to go.
Yeah. It looks great, honestly.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, let's see if there's any other interesting images on this. Yeah, so there's just more on the back of the controller. And then what else do we have? I mean, yeah, so here's the side of the controller. This, you can kind of see the magnets. It looks like those are two magnets at the bottom of each of those rails. And then maybe there's like little connector points in the middle on the actual side of the Switch, and you kind of slide it in sideways rather than sliding it in vertically through the railing system that we got before. So yeah, we won't know for sure. You can't really discern just from this leak, but it is good to see that, you know, the Joy-Con, they're doing even small improvements, like making the SL and SR buttons a lot easier to hit. Yeah.
I can already see like the logo animation of them coming together in the middle, like, you know.
Oh yeah, you think with the Switch 2 logo animation? Yeah. So that's actually really interesting. If the Switch 2 has magnetic Joy-Cons that attach from the side rather than kind of vertically, You think they changed the iconic Switch
I
logo
do-
to be
I do
coming
think
in
they
from
do.
the
Oh,
side?
totally.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, maybe. I guess that's a good branding, good new branding.
Makes
I
us
always
a
thought they'd
little
just
different
keep
from
it.
the first one, you know?
Yeah. Do you think then we change the Switch Shop logo or no? No. Right.
No.
We keep it. We ride that thing out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, looking at this image we have here, this is just for, again, audio listeners, we're trying to describe the image as best we can. This is just an image of a CAD render of the Switch with the Joy-Cons itself attached. There's not a ton new we can really discern from this. I believe the next image is actually a size comparison, which we might want to go to. Or maybe we don't have the size comparison, but it is a little bit bigger than the base Switch and more, interestingly, it seems like the bezels are about the same size as the Switch OLED rather than the base Switch, which had pretty big bezels. So bigger screen real estate, bigger console itself. Again, still have that extra button off to the side. Not entirely sure what that is, but I'm hoping it's a little social button or maybe like a notifications button, because that would just mean that the menu UI online service is going to be a lot better than it is on the base Nintendo Switch. But yeah, I don't know. I think to kind of sum up this leak, I kind of believe this leak is real. It comes from some Chinese website, and obviously Nintendo's probably producing a bunch of the Switch 2 in China right now, so it would make sense that there might be a leak. And it just looks good. I mean, I believe what people were saying is we don't know if the actual CAD renders themselves are legit, but people think the CAD renders were made as kind of a way to mock up the physical Switch that the leakers saw.
Right.
But regardless, I think it looks good. If this is true, I'm just curious, what are your guys' thoughts on Switch 2 if this ends up being legit?
I think it's interesting because visually it's not that big of an upgrade. Like there's nothing that stands out that you're like, oh, this is like the next generation of the Switch. But that also may just be the Nintendo's new management, because like I don't think they're going to be going the gimmick route that they've been going for like the past 20 years with like Iwata and Reggie at the helm. I think this is much more of a like PS4 to PS5 upgrade, where it's like quality of life changes, better internals. I think that's kind of where they're going with this.
Yeah, I feel like they really don't have to do a whole lot here. I mean, the Switch, I think, is kind of a perfect Nintendo console, and the only thing that was kind of holding it back was, again, like you said, Mac, little quality of life changes that we see in this leak here, and then just better specs and better performance on, certain games that we've talked about, Pokemon. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm excited. If it's real, I'm going with Thomas here as well. I think it's real, so looking forward to an announcement hopefully very soon.
Yeah. I think it's real, but it's kind of everything I would want, but also confirms a little bit of my fears for Switch 2 in a way, because
Sure.
it is a little boring. I mean, naturally, we haven't seen any of the software, any of the games. The games are the real selling point, but like Nintendo always does some weird stuff with their hardware. Like even the base Switch had an IR camera, and everyone's like, what the heck is this for? And then we get Nintendo Labo and Ring Fit Adventure, and it's like, oh, okay. Like I didn't see anything that was like that weird on Switch 2. Which makes me think Nintendo might be getting a little boring now, but they've also found so much success with the base Switch that for once Nintendo is actually going to capitalize on their success again, rather than just throw it all out and start completely new with some brand new gimmick that may or may not connect with the masses.
Yeah.
I think the main issue was, where do you innovate from here? Do you know what I mean? It's just such a perfect console. Even from the start, I found that I kind of thought was the only way for them to be better is to make, again, quality of life changes to the original Switch and make it more powerful. Like, I don't know where else you go, because it's obviously, you're not going to take a step back and you're going to split the consoles again, to handheld and home console. So like, I don't know. I mean, I think this is the way to go. But I get what you're saying. Like, Nintendo's thing forever has always been like innovate, and whatever the rest of the industry is doing, we don't really care. So, we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I wonder if this is the start of Nintendo's Sony era, where they start doing like Switch 2, Switch 3, Switch 4, it's like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, rather than, their past Nintendo of Wii, GameCube, I guess Wii U, but even still, that's completely different with the gamepad. Like, it'll be interesting to see, but I am obviously looking forward to Switch 2, and I'm also kind of looking forward to having somewhat of a boring console, like, announcement for a change, because I just think, I know Nintendo is the innovation king, and I hate to try and, like, see them stifle that, but also as a fan, it's just kind of nice to be able to be consistent with this,
It is nice to have a
like,
consistent, like, brand for their console, because, like, forever I feel like they've been fumbling between different names, but sticking with the Switch branding that's been so successful, I think, is the correct move here.
yeah.
All right, boys, for the next segment. So when you buy a game for the first time, the first thing that catches your eye is the box art. And throughout Nintendo's history, there are some amazing box arts. So today, boys, we're going to be playing a little bit of this or that Nintendo Box Arts Edition.
All right. Sounds fun.
I like
Get
this.
right into it. Let's get right into it. So you might be thinking, right, PJ, where did you get all of this? Where did you find all of these games? Like, honestly, I just searched up best blank, like, Nintendo game best box arts, and here we are. It might have made more sense to do the top 32 Nintendo games of all time. That might have been better, but hey, I just, like, looked at it. I was like, hey, this looks kind of cool. And I just put them on. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
we do it.
Let's do
so
it.
these are games from, like, all of Nintendo's history. Like, we got a bunch of different consoles here. So
Wonderful.
all right. So Twilight Princess versus Super Metroid. What do we think is the better box art here?
I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know why Twilight Princess is on this list. That is one of the ugliest box arts I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
Hey, dude.
wow. See, I was going to say the exact opposite. I think Twilight
Ooh.
Princess is cool because it's got the kind of split, bro. Everyone's got that wolf in you. Everyone's got that dog in you. And Link has that wolf. Inside him, there is one wolf, and its name is, like, Midna or something. I forget. But, like, there is a wolf in him, and you kind of see that from the box art.
Yeah, there is some double meaning there, but you got to look at the Super Metroid one and be like, that's just cool. You're just shooting up a
the
dragon.
Metroid one is the Metroid one. I
It's
think
just
is
all
my
the
one.
colors. I see. Like,
Yeah.
I disagree with Mac as well. Like, I think Twilight Princess, the box art's, like, really cool. Like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of sick, but anyway, I'm going with Super Metroid though. Like, I just love the
Yeah.
colors. Very
Yeah,
iconic
all right. I
as
think
well.
we got 3 votes for Super Metroid, but the colors on the Super Metroid one are just so nice. But anyway,
Exactly.
oh, this is
Wow.
a good one. Okay, next up we have. I'm just gonna be reading all these out for the audio listeners. Next up we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So the Switch version of the box art, the one with all the Rainbow Road and everything, versus The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Man, this is tough. This is a
This is a
this
tough
one
one
of the tough ones.
because
This is
I
a
think
brutal first rounder. Like, it was completely
think-
random and it got put like this.
I
That's
think
tough.
it's somewhat close, but I feel like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just, like, takes the cake here. Like, it's
Yeah.
just it's got all of the colors for one.
Yeah.
And I feel like Tears of the Kingdom, I think it's kind of boring almost. Like, I understand it's showing off the sky islands, but like, what's even going on at the bottom? It's literally just the sky.
Yeah, my issue with the Tears of the Kingdom box art is there's just a lot of blank space. Like, I agree, like, when you look at it, it's like, oh, that's really cool, but I don't know. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, like, I think it's literally one of the best Nintendo box arts of all time.
I agree with that.
Kind of brutal.
Yeah.
Kind of brutal.
Yeah,
So,
no,
I'm going with
I
Mario
agree
Kart.
with that take. I completely agree with that take. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's box art is insane. It
Yep.
it screams fun in a way that, like, it needs to because it's a Mario Kart box art, and Tears of the Kingdom also kind of screams exploration and, like, adventure, but I don't think it's as direct as Mario Kart
Yeah.
8 Deluxe's box art is. And, like,
I think it's
that's-
also a letdown coming off the Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the
Because
Wild?
I think the Breath of the
Totally.
Wild box art is one of the best box arts of all time to show off, like,
Yeah.
a deep adventure. I feel like Tears of the Kingdom, it's not really showing you that.
Yeah, and I see it actually on the bracket later, so we'll get there. But
All right.
Oh, yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yep.
3. Ooh. Mario and Luigi partners in time for the Nintendo DS versus Metroid Dread. Man, okay, first things first, partners in time. I love the hand-drawn, like Mario and Luigi box arts we've gotten
So
before,
good.
and it's even cooler now that like the art style is kind of fully looks like that almost, with the cell shaded style we've seen in Brothership. With that being said, though, Metroid Dread might have one of the toughest Nintendo box arts I've ever seen. The robots standing silhouetted like on the whatever that is mountain above Samus with the red background. That is so sick. My vote, I think, has to be for Dread, even though Partners in Time is the art is really cool too.
I think more effort went into Partners in Time. I like the hand-drawn style. Metroid Dread is just like honestly a perfect box art. Like
I remember
like you
watching
said,
your box arts video and you said this basically. Yeah.
It's got like the perfect contrast of colors. I think showing off Samus's new suit there, and then all of the aliens in the background are robots. I'm not sure which ones those are. It's all just like, it's a beautiful box art.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think it's Dread 100%. Like I obviously love the Mario and Luigi one. Like it just like really stood out when I was looking into it. But Metroid Dread is just peak game, peak box art. Like can't go wrong. So I think we're going with Metroid Dread here.
All right.
Ooh,
okay.
We got Kirby Air Ride versus Super Mario 64.
I'm gonna let somebody else go first on this because I have some things to say.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Hot take incoming.
I'll start by saying I think both of these box arts are pretty good. With the Kirby one, something funny to point out is, I'm sure you guys know this, but every like Kirby box art in America, he has like a frown, like a scowl on his face. He's like angry. But in Japan, he's just got his cute little Kirby smile. And, you know, Kirby Air Ride has the angry. But I do think that fits with the racing. He's very focused on the race. Kirby Air Ride is a fast game. Like you're flying if you're playing it well. So
oh, that's so funny.
It's so funny. It's literally the exact same box art.
Wow.
Yeah, now with the big smile. Although
you're right, it does work. It works better for Air Ride, the focused mad face, I think.
I was gonna say normally I'm against that, but I think actually Air Ride specifically works better with the kind of focusing more angry face. I don't know, because Kirby Air Ride's box art is pretty good, but I know the background is supposed to be blurred because it's how fast you're moving.
Yeah.
But Kirby Air Ride, by the title, you kind of already know it's going to be like a Kirby racing game or Kirby, like, you know, riding on a star. I don't think the box art really shows you anything else. Granted, Super Mario 64 definitely doesn't really show you anything else besides, I guess, the wing cap and the fact that Peach's castle is in there. But that box art, I know we're not taking like iconic into account, but A, it's super iconic, and also it's the first like big 3D anything from Nintendo, but big 3D Mario specifically. So to use the depth and have Mario big 3D render almost popping out of the box art, you can see his hand going over to the part that has the N64 on the right side, plus Peach's castle all the way in the back, and you can kind of see the entire like globe almost like kind of rotating Animal Crossing style just to get that depth looking crazy. I don't know. This is close. I think these both do their job well. I don't think either of them are super like insanely mind-blowing. They just do what they need to do pretty decently, but I think I'm leaning towards 64 here.
Yeah, I'm also going with 64, I think. My main issue with Kirby Air Ride, I wish they kind of made this box art similar to Sonic Riders, to where you can actually see like the different characters in the background, like you see like Sonic and Jet in the like original Sonic Riders background. But I think it would have been really cool if we saw like different colored like versions of Kirby in the background in this. I think that would be pretty sick, because like the blurred background just kind of like, it's a little odd. Like I get what they were going for, but it's just a little strange for sure. So I think I'm going with Super Mario 64. Like it's just so iconic. First 3D Mario, you got Mario in the wing cap. Like, I don't know. Gotta go 64.
Yeah, I think you guys kind of put it perfectly. I think Kirby Air Ride, it's a really great box art, but it doesn't show enough of like what's going on in the game, and I think that kind of hinders it here. I think Super Mario 64 is just like, it perfectly represents like the 3D gaming and like what it was trying to like advertise. And I think it's just like a really iconic one too. And I think it's the easy point goes to Mario 64.
Yep.
All right. Oh, moving on. This is interesting. We have Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness with Peter. What you can speak to this? Shadow Lugia, is that the Pokemon
Correct.
on the box art?
Yep.
Okay. See,
Yep.
look, I know what I'm talking about. We got Shadow Lugia on there, and then New Super Mario Bros. The original for the DS.
Pokemon XD's box art is so bad.
What?
It's literally just a Pokemon.
Exactly. It's Shadow Lugia.
That's
what
every Pokemon box art, dude. The legendaries
Exactly.
on the box.
I think it's lazy.
This is why the term box art legendary is a thing, Mac. Lazy
We
is
have-
so crazy. They created a whole one-off form for Lugia just for this game.
Jack is blowing up our Discord. Jack is
What
our
did he
producer.
say?
Jack is a huge. I just saw bruh. I just saw bruh in a bunch of times. Our producer Jack, by the way, I've said this before, but he's a huge Pokemon fan. So anytime we talk bad about Pokemon, there might be some furious Discord messages typed in our Nintendo tonight.
I'm not mad at Pokemon putting characters on the box art, but like when that's all that box art is with like some swirls in the background, I can't reward that. Like I just can't.
Yeah, that's
Ugh.
fair.
Like I get it, but it's just like I don't know. I personally prefer it to the matchup of
Okay, so
like,
it's
New
it's
Super Mario Bros.
1-1.
DS.
So
Their
it's
first split
1-1.
decision.
I hate to say it, PJ, but
It's
I
okay.
think I gotta
It's
go
okay.
with New Super Mario Bros. DS.
Fair.
I love the Mega Mushroom version of Mario, kind of running in from the side. Luigi's there too because you could play as him in versus mode. I think this game kind of redefined Mario's art style, like his entire style for
that is
a
true.
long while. And this box art just did a great job of showing like what that was going to be. Of course, it kind of looks generic now because they rode that art style into the ground. But the box art does a great job of showing what what Mario was about to look like for the next decade plus. Whereas, I don't know, I'm back and forth on the different box art legendaries, but also like if you squint too hard, you cannot even tell what is going on in the Pokemon XD one,
That's
which
fair.
I don't think is good for a box art.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, we can like New Soup is just it's just iconic. Ooh, Super Mario Kart versus A Link Between Worlds for the 3DS.
Okay, so we
All
got
right.
two kind of conflicting styles here.
Mm-hmm.
Link Between Worlds is very minimalistic. It's very monochromatic. It's really just one color. You got this golden light coming down, and I believe that's the Master Sword in the center on a pedestal. It's kind of sitting there saying, "Hey, this is a Zelda game. We're taking this seriously. We don't need to like hit you over the head with a bunch of characters and like crazy drawings." Whereas Super Mario Kart, that's all it is. It's a bunch of Mario characters drawn to be in carts.
It's like polar opposites, literally.
Yeah, so they're polar opposites.
Yeah.
But while Zelda, A Link Between the Worlds actually has a great box art in terms of like feeling very serene, mysterious, like Zelda, like it screams Zelda. Super Mario Kart also screams Mario Kart. There's a lot of kineticism. All the characters are bunched together. It's chaotic. It's fun. They both kind of do a great job of showing what the vibe of the game at least is going to be about.
Yep.
I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. I could be persuaded either way. I'm not sure I have a winner at least right now.
I'm in a very similar boat. I think both box arts do exactly what they needed to do for each game. I think Mario Kart's is like beautiful with the hand-drawn style, showing all the characters. Again, it looks super like just fun. Link Between Worlds, I think, is just like beautiful. It shows you that you're about to go on like a grand adventure, and I think that's perfect for what Zelda is. I'd like to hear what PJ has to say though.
Yeah, I honestly just kind of my opinion in general, like I just really love the minimalism in general. Like I just love that kind of art style. So I'm going to have to go with A Link Between Worlds here, but obviously we love Super Mario Kart. It's like very iconic and hand drawn.
Yeah.
I'm always a little soft spot for that. So yeah, but definitely going to have to go with Zelda. I mean, it's one of the best 3DS games and one of the greatest 3DS box arts in my opinion. So
I have one thing pushing me towards Zelda, and it actually has nothing to do with Zelda's box art and everything to do with Super Mario Karts. The fact that they're driving from right to left messes with me. If they were driving from left to right, I think it would look better, but for some reason it's like weird to look at. So I would go with Zelda.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
there
then
you
I
go.
guess it is Zelda. One last thing
it's
I want
2-1.
to point out. I was going to say Zelda too, but again, for a different reason. I think if you look at the two logos, Super Mario Kart's logo, I get that gradient was a sign of the times. It's a little hard to read now, whereas the Link Between Worlds logo, the fact that they have the Triforce flipped but completely darkened to show the dark, like low rule, dark world that is one of the core mechanics of that game. I think that's some great foreshadowing for the game itself. So I gotta go with 3 votes for A Link Between Worlds.
Yep,
it wins. All right.
Ooh.
Oh
My. We got Super Mario World versus Mario Kart Double Dash here. Oof.
Oh.
I think this is easy.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I'm also gonna be honest. I think it's easy.
Oh, see, I'm like kind of 50-50 because I don't really like Super Mario World's box art now that I'm looking at it. I don't think the drawing is like that
very simple.
Great. It's
we
simple,
both thought it was easy from
fine.
opposite sides. I think this is easily Super Mario World. It's just like
oh wow.
What?
I think the Mario in red, Yoshi in green, and then the blue background, I just think is like it's so simple and perfect. I think Double Dash, it's a little chaotic with the blur. They didn't even get Luigi's hat right because the L is backwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Like it's just lazily put together.
The hat has to disqualify it from even being there.
Yeah.
I also hate when games add in like, I guess
little subtitles, right? Is that
like what does that even say? That's what on
team up for twice the fun. Team up for twice the fun is what it says.
Yeah. Okay. We don't need that. Oh yeah, that's way better. That's way better, Jack. Thank you. Please keep it at that if possible. That zoom in. Yeah. I will say I'm probably gonna vote for Super Mario World because I hate voting for a box art where they literally mirrored Luigi wrong. But Yoshi's derpy looking face and like gaze at Mario. Look at Yoshi's face in that box art. It has
I don't like
normal.
that. I don't like that. I don't like that
face. Why is he looking at Mario like that? What is going on? All right, well, whatever.
Weird ass dinosaur. All right,
he wins begrudgingly. Super Mario World.
Super Mario World. Yeah. All right. Oh, damn! Super Mario Sunshine versus Pokemon Fire Red. Now, Mac, this actually isn't a box art legendary. It's a box art starter.
I think both of these are bad.
Yeah, I mean, Sunshine is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they use speed lines though, which is like interesting.
Does that really win it over? Just because Fire Red has the little including?
No, Fire Red is way better. I think Super Mario Sunshine for
like. What do you mean? There's a Pokemon with swirls in the background. I thought you hated that.
I think it's simple and like fine. You can actually like see that Charizard is there, and I think Sunshine is just like there's so much they could have done with that box art with how beautiful of a game Mario Sunshine is, and I think they just kind of squandered it.
Why is Mario not on a beach? Why is Mario not on a beach?
Definitely a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I also like how Charizard's kind of like lunging out at the camera. He looks like he's ready to breathe some fire. I think it's Fire Red for this one.
Hey, if we're choosing Pokemon, I'm good with that. Let's do it. Yeah, All
right, we're moving on to the Oh wow. Okay, so this is how it works. So we're now filling out this bracket all the way, and then we got the other side of the bracket.
Other side.
Okay.
Jeez.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so this is gonna get tough. The next one we have is Super Metroid versus Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. For the audio listeners, we got our work cut out for us here. I'm not entirely sure either way. I love 8 Deluxe's box art, but the actual like drawing box arts that they used to do for the SNES are just so sick. They're just
these are two of the best of all time. It's so tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
It's literally just what kind of art style is your personal preference. It seems like. Oh man,
this is a really tough one. I really like both of these, and I think both these could have won.
Yeah. I honestly, I'm gonna have to go with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, I love Super Metroid. I really, really do. But I gotta go Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like, there's just it just kind of encapsulates Mario Kart perfectly, and like, I don't know, it's just one of the best. I think honestly, this has to go to the finals. I feel like eventually, it's gonna be a contender for the win. I think. So I would Mario Kart. I think.
I would like to go Super Metroid because I think the drawing is just like beautiful, and then the only for Nintendo is like ripped like the Dragon Claws or like that's really cool.
Yeah,
I think Mario Kart Deluxe is just like a perfect Mario Kart box art. It's just
It shows everything that needs to be shown, including the anti-gravity. You have people driving above the logo, upside down.
It
You get literally everything.
it just
And
looks like a
Mario-
celebration of the series, which is
8
what
Deluxe
that game
is.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think 8 Deluxe has to win here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dread versus Super Mario 64. Metroid Dread, that is, by the way. Wow.
This is tough, bro. These are tough.
Honestly, I'm gonna be real. I don't think this is tough. I think Metroid Dread kind of blows it out of the water. Like, that might be kind of a hot take, but I feel like Dread just kind of blows this out of the water.
I
Like,
don't think it blows it out, but I think it probably wins because the silhouette of the Emmy robots above Samus is just
Yeah.
so sick. I've said it like 7 times. I just think that is such
It is.
a cool
It is,
visual. Yeah. Mac,
Mac?
you don't look
I
pleased
don't
about
I
this.
don't
but
think I have a choice here. I think Metroid Dread has won. I think Mario 64 is the most iconic box art of all time. Like, if you look right here, I literally have a poster from Free Guy that is like in the Mario 64
Oh, that's so
like
sick.
box art format.
That's cool.
But
Hey,
Metroid Dread
you
is
can make a case.
no,
Yeah,
can-
hey,
no.
you can make a case, and maybe
I
maybe
think
somebody
Metroid
could
Dread
be
is
persuaded.
a like perfect box art. So I'm going that way as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have
Ooh,
Oh.
New Super Mario Bros. DS versus A Link Between Worlds.
I think this one's
This is
easy.
a little
Link Between
tougher.
Worlds for me. I love New Super Mario Bros. DS, but I don't even think it's the best box art in the series. I think probably New Super Mario Bros. Wii has a better box art.
Yeah.
And like really just looking at it, everyone knows who Mario, Luigi, what a green pipe is, what a mushroom is, what a Koopa, what a Goomba look like. So it's not really showing you anything new. It's just kind of saying, hey, this is a Mario game. Granted, the Zelda game is doing that exact same thing, but they're doing it with like a minimalist style, which I think just speaks to me more personally.
Yeah. I
I
love the
don't know.
mystique of the A Link Between Worlds box art. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just really love minimalism in general. So that's my vote. But
Yeah, I'm leaning that way too. I think New Super Mario Bros. Is a great box art, but
agreed.
I'd go Link Between Worlds here.
Mm-hmm.
Link Between Worlds it is. And now
And last one until the final for
see,
this side, we got
I
Super
think
Mario
either
World
of-
versus Fire Red.
I think either of these, Super Mario World or Pokemon Fire Red, I think either one would have lost in like any of the previous matchups.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Fire Red here, just because that
Yep.
Yoshi is creeping me out, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going Super Mario World because I like the Yoshi.
You like
Wow.
the weird?
I like the weird Yoshi.
Honestly, I can't fault you for that. It's not that
It's up to you, PJ.
I love Pokemon. The Yoshi is looking at me kind of funny. So I'm going Fire Red. I'm definitely going
Alright.
Fire Red here. All right.
All right, Pokemon Fire Red. Now I believe we choose. Yeah. Okay. So this is
So
gonna get
semis and then
damn.
this
okay.
is brutal.
We got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe versus Metroid Dread. Matchup of the Nintendo Switch games here. I can't even begin to explain what I don't even know what I think. Both of these are incredible.
Yeah. God.
Simplistically, simplistic, whatever.
Yeah.
You got it.
Metroid Dread is a better box art. It just is. But the chaotic nature of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe like fits that game. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
if I'm just leaning back, I think I pick Metroid Dread, but like by like
Well,
half a
because there's
point.
just like a lot going on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's like box art, but
Mhm.
it's really impressive how there's so much going on, yet they make Mario like the perfect forefront
Mhm.
of that. Like, I don't just like perspective wise, it's just like done very well in my opinion. I don't know, man. Damn.
I think I gotta lean towards Dread.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
See, I
like
was
8
gonna go
Deluxe a lot,
Mario
but
Kart. I was gonna go Mario Kart.
I think I'm leaning towards Dread. There's just something about how like readable it is.
Yeah.
Like, I know Mario Kart's like readable too. Like, there's a huge Mario in the center, but
Dread just kind of does everything well. It's tough. Like, I guess the only issue about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I guess, is that it's like there are a lot of colors going on. It's not really something like Super Metroid where there's like a bunch of colors contrasted perfectly and it's just like really pleasing to look at. It's just like rainbow overload from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I guess. So I get where you're coming from, but I don't know. I'm still gonna have to lean Mario Kart, but Max split the tie.
Metroid Dread.
Ooh,
Dread it is.
All right.
Okay, and then
I think this is easy in my opinion, but hey,
The Legend of Zelda:
Yeah.
A Link Between Worlds versus Pokemon Fire Red.
Yeah.
I think we all agree Zelda on this.
Yep.
although-
Yep.
Okay. Yep. There it is. Now, I believe we have. Yep. Metroid
So this
Dread
is
versus
for
The
this
Legend of
final.
Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. This is to send this game to the final, but don't worry, we still have an entire another round of 16 to go. So we will have more box arts. But oh man, I think I still have to stick with Dread.
Me
but
too.
There's just something so beautiful about Link Between Worlds box art that it's hard for me to like get rid of it. Dread has so much. It's just Dread is they're both like kind of subtle box arts in the sense that like there's not a ton going on in either one, and they're kind of more suggesting like a mystery or a vibe to the game. But I think Dread just does that better, like especially with the subtitle of Dread. Like there are these guys, robot, glowing-eyed looking things silhouetted against a red sky looking down at you. Like it's a dreadful box art. That's what the game needed.
Yeah, I'd go Dread here as well. I think the focal point of Samus in the middle, like in the background and the contrast, outdoes what Link Between Worlds it does. I think that box art is great, but it's just like comparing the two, like you it's an obvious choice that Dread's better. I think Link Between Worlds like almost looks boring compared to Metroid Dread.
I'm with you. Yeah, Metroid Dread for sure.
Okay, starting off with the round of 16 on the other side of the bracket to find who will be challenging Metroid Dread in the grand finale best box art showdown, we have Super Smash Bros. Melee versus Mega Man X. Mega Man X looks crazy on this. The art, it's got that hand-drawn style, but I just don't think it aged that well. I'm going Smash Melee on this one.
Yeah, I'd go Melee as well. I'm not really sure what's going on with Mega Man X. I think Melee is just a perfect box art, and I don't really want to talk about Mega Man X because I don't even know what I'm looking at. So
yeah, we're Melee. We're with Melee. Oh, Thomas's strong opinion about both of these games.
Yeah, so these two games, we have Super Mario Party for the Nintendo Switch and Super Mario Galaxy 2 for the Nintendo Wii. Both of these games I've talked bad about in the past. Both of them I think have pretty good box arts though. For
This
Super
is a
Mario
brutal
Party,
first rounder.
yeah, one thing I'm gonna say on Super Mario Party is I go back and forth on the inclusion of Joy-Con in the box
agree.
art because Joy-Con
Yeah.
are so instrumental to the game itself, but also, do we need 4 controllers on the box art, like showing?
it's a little corny.
Yeah, it's kind of like look at me, like this
Yeah.
is Nintendo. You play this on the one with these looking controllers. I think Galaxy 2 is incredible though. Yoshi looks way better here than he did in the Super Mario World box art. I'll tell you
hell
that.
yeah.
We got the planetoids in the background. We got Starship Mario. You can see Lubba on there. You can see big, blue Yoshi blowing up some air.
Yep.
And I also just really like Galaxy 2's logo. I think it's a great logo. Like, I just think
The
it works
2
well
doesn't look
together.
shoehorned in there. Like it moved
Yeah,
the
exactly.
galaxy over to the left, so it like lines up perfectly.
Yeah.
I would lean towards Galaxy 2 here, but I don't think it's too far apart. I think it's a closer matchup than we think. I think Mario and like everybody falling and him catching his hat. I think all of that like it adds motion to the box art, which I think is like a cool, nice touch. I just think the background of it is a little boring. I think the Joy-Cons are corny, and comparing it to Galaxy 2, I think Galaxy 2 takes it here.
Yeah, Super Mario Party is not vibrant enough for me, especially comparing it to Galaxy 2. And Galaxy 2 kind of just does like the perfect job of telling you, what's going on in the game without overwhelming you. And then just like the models look like really, really good in this, even for a Wii game, comparing it to a Switch game. So I'm going with Galaxy 2. It's one of the best ever, in my opinion.
Dub. All right, Galaxy 2 it is.
Super
Ooh,
Mario
interesting one next.
64 DS versus Majora's Mask 3D. Obviously for the 3DS.
These are both
Huh.
weird.
Yeah, a little bit. Little bit weird. I will say 64 DS is very simplistic. And this is a rare Zelda box art where there's like actually a lot going on in the background, because kind of historically I see that there's, it's normally like Link and then a bunch of blank space or, some sort of mystery going on. So I don't know. This is kind of tough. I will have to lean Majora's Mask though. I feel like 64 DS is way too simple, especially comparing it to the original.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at the two of them, I think I would lean Majora's Mask. I think 64DS it's a little too much of its time. It almost looks like a computer game or something. I'm not even I think the weird just like grass and then nothing behind it except sky is like way too boring. It almost looks like a Mr. Beast thumbnail. Yeah, I'm leaning Majora's Mask here.
Yeah, okay, Majora's Mask wins. I also just don't like how 64 DS, it looks like they're like fighting and like tripping over each other, even though that's not a mechanic in the game. So it's a little weird.
Yeah, and then the main location of the game is like in the background. It's so tiny.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Weird.
All right, we got
All right.
Paper Mario Sticker Star, controversial, versus Animal Crossing New Leaf. I will say that how Paper Mario Sticker Star is not received very well by fans. The box art isn't horrible. I will say that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it beats New Leaf though. I think New Leaf, it has first of all, it's got the town tree in the back with KK Slider on it. I think that's beautiful that they decided to add that into the thumbnail. And besides that, there's not a main focal point. There's some villagers, or in the thumbnail I said, didn't I? I've been viewing these as thumbnails, like kind of squinting, because when we make our thumbnails, sometimes we like zoom them out a ton to see what they look like, when you're looking on your phone. And you see this from like the whole point of a box art.
There's definitely a
away.
similar like thought process that goes into making the box arts as thumbnails.
Yeah. But no, I like New Leaf. I also like how it's all kind of like tilted in. It's almost like warped in, which is kind of the inverse of how the game actually looks when it's running, because it's got that like rolling log style.
Yeah.
I gotta go New Leaf here.
I would go New Leaf as well. I'm not a huge hater of Sticker Star. I think all the stickers on like a yellow background is like kind of neat, but like the text is kind of hard to read, and then Mario not being a sticker, like I don't know. I'd go New Leaf here.
Yep, I'm with you. Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Pokemon Emerald. The devious box art legendary swirl.
This has got to be Mario 3.
Are we?
It's
I think
Mario
Bros.
3.
3 is one of the greatest box arts ever.
It's so.
And
perfect.
I'm a Pokemon Gen 3 fanatic.
Yeah.
Like I love Rayquaza. I love Kyogre is my favorite, but I think the Super Mario 3 box art is probably the most iconic box art ever.
Yeah.
You could make that argument that Nintendo's ever made. It's just a banger. It's just a banger.
Yeah. I hate to have Pokemon lose first, but yeah, Mario 3 100%.
Oh,
Wii Sports Resort.
So we got The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I will note to anyone listening and not able to see, this is the North American version of the box art. I believe the European version has a completely different box art, but this is the one of Link standing back facing to the camera, looking out. He's standing on top of like a mountaintop. It looks like he's in the center of the box art looking out. You can see Death Mountain in the way back, and it looks like the sun's also kind of like setting here. Versus Wii Sport Resort, which is just a collage of 4 different sports together. Although
Breath of the Wild
kind of how you would do that. Yeah, I don't know what else they could do. Yeah, thank you, Jack.
I got the comparison there.
Yeah, he's got the. Oh wait, that's not the. Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I like the North American version better, even though the
Yeah,
colors
me too.
are probably better on the European version. But yeah, I think we all agree Breath of the Wild wins here.
Yep.
All right. Ooh, Super Mario 3D Land versus Pokemon Soul Silver for the Nintendo DS.
I will say as a Pokemon diehard that just comparing these two, I know 3D Land gets a lot of flack for being way too simplistic of a game, but I kind of like the colors, and also the fact that Mario's shadow, even though he doesn't have the Tanuki power up, you see like the little silhouette of that, and the tail. It's like a nice little subtle touch, which is nice. You got the tail coming out of the land logo as well. I mean, it's saying the game is very simple, like on the box art, to be honest, but it's a nice touch. Soul Silver, again, one of my favorite games of all time, but the text is a little hard to read. The gradient is like a little weird. Kind of looks like a Photoshop preset, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, I have to go 3D Land, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think 3D Land's the correct option here. I like the Fire Flower and the blocks like bleeding over into the 3DS area to show
into the
depth
spine
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
game. Yeah, I
notice that.
think that's the correct option here.
Yeah,
Yeah, agreed. Super Mario 3D Land wins. Next up, ooh, I don't know if I've ever even seen the box art on the right. We got Mario Kart DS on the left, and then on the right, Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon for the 3DS, which basically just has a bunch of Pokemon. Pikachu obviously in the center, Torchic right off to the right though, which is, shout out, gets points for me for having Torchic. All is hand drawn, I believe. Those are hand drawn. I
think
can't really
so.
Tell. Are those 3D? They look hand drawn.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, whatever. I mean, there's a bunch of them. Kind of all in the center.
Yeah.
It's a bit busy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
DS is interesting though, because I don't necessarily understand why Mario's like getting out of the car or getting into the car. I also don't really know why they chose the B Dasher, which is like kind of an obscure car to put as the box art cart.
Yeah. It's very simple. They are very polar opposite. Like
I think he's jumping into the cart because the cart's coming this way. At first,
it looks like he's jumping over it. Like he came from like
it's a bit
our
weird,
right? Yeah,
but I like it better than Mystery Dungeon.
I would agree. I like the simplicity of it, and I also think the logo's really good. I like how the DS is kind of like you can see it racing in because it's got those different speed lines than the ones we use in all our videos. It's got speed lines. So shout out speed lines. But yeah, Mario Kart DS probably wins it there.
Yep.
And now we get into the round of, I believe, the Elite Eight or whatever on this side. So
we got Melee versus Galaxy 2. Honestly,
I'm gonna start off. I think it's Galaxy 2, and this is why I want to say this. I think Melee's box art is kind of bizarre in the sense that once again it has that same thing Double Dash had, which makes sense because it's a GameCube game where it's like Nintendo's best in 4-player action, but then also every character or a bunch of the characters that you don't see on the box art itself are actually like you see little character portraits of them, which just makes it a lot more crowded, and also it's not really easy to tell who those characters are. Like look at the Donkey Kong image they picked. Like it's way too zoomed into Donkey Kong.
Look at the Yoshi one.
Yeah, the Yoshi one is just his eyes.
It's literally just his eyes. Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I think that's the weakest part of the Melee box art.
Look at the.
I feel like they should have.
It's one of them with a literal. I think Popo is just poking.
Yeah, literally.
The head. What is going on? Yeah, I don't know.
I almost feel like those should have been saved for the back, and it would have been like a promotional thing featuring, and then showing off like some characters there. But yeah, it's just too busy. I almost wonder if somebody has like mocked up a alternate Melee box art to where those kind of icons are removed, because it is very odd. I also don't like how it's 2 up top and 3 at the bottom. Like I that just bugs me as well. Like why is it not equal numbers? But anyway. Oh, yeah. See, that's good. That's
why
good.
isn't
right
that
there.
the box art?
That's good right there.
If you look up Super Smash Bros. Melee box art, what is the first thing that comes up?
It's the one with.
Okay, yeah. So it's the one with the thing. That is so bizarre.
Yeah,
that looks beautiful. That looks like a producer poster right there.
Yeah, our producer Jack found one without all the annoying added things that I was just complaining about. The random slogan and the, I don't need to know that it's Nintendo's best in 4-player action. I know obviously they put that there because they think it would help sell more copies, but like looking at it now, it's just visually too cluttered. I go Galaxy 2.
Yeah, Galaxy 2. Galaxy 2. Yep. 100%. Majora's Mask 3D versus Animal Crossing New Leaf, the 3DS showdown. Ooh.
I'm leaning Majora's Mask 3D here.
I love the
think-
moon in the background. I love.
I think the art style here is nice. I think the colors are like pretty unique for a Nintendo game. I think it's what Majora's Mask is. It's got the moon in the background, which I think is like perfect, showing what the game's like story is. I really like this box art.
Thumbnail.
I'm the only
Yeah.
one that hasn't said thumbnail yet. My
I
time's
think
coming.
I agree. Majora's Mask 3D I think takes it. It's just
Yeah.
a banger.
Wow.
Oh.
No,
That's
this is
so
the hardest one we've
crazy.
had today.
We got
This
Super
is-
Mario Bros. 3 versus The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Wow.
That iconic
That's
yellow
tough.
box art on the left.
God, that's
it's
so tough.
hard to say no to. But Breath of the Wild is just so perfect.
Again, it's just an opinion thing of what you kind of lean towards more in terms of like what your personal preference is.
You know, I like Mario 3 because I think it's one of the most unique box arts in the entire like Nintendo catalog. The hand-drawn Mario with the Tanuki yellow background, the text, I think it's all just like so unique and like perfect. I think Breath of the Wild is just it's perfect. It does exactly what Breath of the Wild needed. It shows Link looking out onto the adventure he's about to go on, and if you think about it, it's also him with the Master Sword at the very end of the game. So it's like both like a prologue and an epilogue of what the game is. Because you at the beginning of that game, you go out to that rock, and at the end of the game, you go out to that rock and you look out over the entirety of Hyrule. I think that box art is like perfection. I hate to vote against Mario 3, but my vote goes to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
got to be Breath of the Wild. I mean, Mario 3, very iconic, but it got to be Breath of the Wild. It's just too
I
good.
was gonna say Mario 3, but I'm outvoted.
Wow.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's something about just like having one image of Mario. This is back on the NES. They were just like, yeah, you already know who this guy is. Screw you. You're
Yeah.
gonna buy this game. Big Mario, huge smile. It's gonna be fun, but I can't be mad saying Breath of the Wild wins too. So I'm not.
I think there's
too upset
a
about
chance in where both of those get to the finals here. Just they happen to meet up
Yeah.
that early. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
just the randomization just kind of did it wrong. All right, we got 3D Land versus Mario Kart DS. These are very similar with the boring white background, in my opinion.
I'm
but,
not sure it matters.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say
I'm going 3D Land. I
I'll
don't know
go
if that's a hot
3D Land
take.
too. Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah,
3D
I'm going
Land. I like
3D
the
Land.
shadow, but
Yeah.
it's about to go up against Breath of the Wild, which will win.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. 3D Land, and then we see
Oh.
Galaxy 2 versus Majora's Mask.
Ooh,
Again,
Okay.
I don't even know if this matters. I think Breath of the Wild takes either of these, but
I would lean Galaxy 2 here.
yeah,
Me too.
I'm a lean Galaxy.
Galaxy 2
2 as well, so
is just one of my favorite. Yeah, gotta be.
it just looks so good. And then
Right.
yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Get outta
Don't even
here,
show
Breath
us.
of the
It's
Wild. Get outta
versus
here.
3D
Get outta
Land,
here.
But we're not even. Yeah, and then okay.
Now
I-
this is actually good. I believe this is the No, this is the semis before going to the finals. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got obviously
I-
Galaxy 2 versus Breath of the Wild for audio listeners.
My vote is
Um,
Breath of the Wild. If both of you think it's Galaxy 2, then you can vote for that, and then I'll move on.
Yeah.
But I'm sticking with Breath of the Wild here.
I think it is
Man.
too. I want to say Galaxy 2 because this is
Me
the
too,
more and more I
man.
look at Galaxy 2, the better and better I think that box art is.
I just love how bright it is, and it's not like too overwhelming.
That's that vibrance filter on
Yeah, yeah.
Photoshop we'd be
Oh
using.
yeah, oh yeah. And it's not like it's kind of really flashing in your face, similar to how I felt about like 8 Deluxe before. So, man, so tough. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. I gotta go Breath of the Wild, I think.
All right,
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, let's do it. Now we have the final showdown to crown the best box art out of this bracket of 32. 32.
The random bracket.
Yeah, the random bracket that we came up with. 32 box arts. We're down to 2. We have Metroid Dread representing the left half of the bracket, with Samus staring at the camera, not dozens, but like 6 or 7 robots behind her on the top of a mountain, illuminated by the red sky, silhouetted even, with their eyes illuminated, staring down at Samus. And then on the right, we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Link's back to the camera, standing on top of that rock on the Great Plateau outside of the on the Great Plateau outside of the Shrine of Resurrection, staring out at the vast kingdom of Hyrule. You got Death Mountain in the way back. You got Hyrule Castle infested with malice. Link is holding the Master Sword with the, I think that's a Hylian shield over to the side, although we can't really tell because his back's to the camera. There is so much to love about both of these box arts. Both characters are accompanied by, what makes the game great. In Dread's case, it's the feeling of dread you get because of the enemies, because of the Emmy robots. In Breath of the Wild's case, it's because of Hyrule. It's because of this beautiful open world you can explore. Both characters are accompanied by that, in addition to a beautiful logo. Each logo, I think, is perfect. Could not be done better. No notes. On top of that, both of these are Nintendo Switch games, obviously, so the box arts themselves do not have a ton of extra stuff like they were throwing on in the GameCube game. All we have really is the rating. We got the E10 Plus, or T for Teen, the Nintendo Switch logo in the top left, and besides that, it's just two beautiful box arts. I'm talking so much and yapping because I really don't know what to vote here.
Me neither. I keep glancing. Thoughts. I keep glancing at both of them, and they're just like both kind of so different, but just done so well.
They're very different in their execution, but they have the same outcome, which I think is having a very atmospheric vibe that comes directly off the art. Like Breath of the Wild shows the adventure that you're about to go on. Dread shows the grittiness of that game. I think both of them do it perfectly. It's just depending on which execution you think was better.
I love the inverse that we kind of did by accident here, to where Samus is facing the camera and Link is showing his back to the camera. Even that it's left and right too. That's perfect.
I'll go first.
Sure.
I think I lean towards Breath of the Wild because of Link's back facing the camera, and I think Samus's facing towards the camera doesn't hit as hard. I think Link looking out onto Hyrule just is hands down the better one.
Thomas?
I really still don't know.
I'm kind of there. That's why I asked you to do it.
Yeah, I could just be kind of a jerk and say Metroid Dread, so you have to make the final decision, PJ.
You could.
And you know what? I will, because the damn red sky in the background is just so visually appealing. I think there's something about how Breath of the Wild, I love the colors of the box art, and I love how it is kind of sunset. You get the sun peeking through the clouds, but just because of that, there's kind of an intense shadow cast upon all of the actual land itself, which is fair, but I think also doesn't do it too many favors. I would like to be able to see maybe a little bit more of actual Hyrule. You can kind of see Hyrule Castle and the Death Mountain, but you can't really see anything else. Maybe if there was a Divine Beast way off in the distance, I would be a bit more inclined to say Breath of the Wild, but I'm going to go Dread. Really, for me, these are both tied, but I'm just curious what PJ thinks.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is very visually appealing, but, I do agree. I'm going to have to go with Dread here because, again, I don't know. It does everything so well. There's just no complaints. Breath of the Wild, I can nitpick, but Metroid Dread, it's just perfect. I cannot say anything to kind of, put it down that you guys.
Ooh, red is a bright color. Yay!
But it's not just the red.
I know. Metroid Dread is a great box art. It's a great box. I get it.
Yeah. But we are going Metroid Dread to win this bracket for sure. And there we have it.
All right. Well, wow. Metroid Dread, the box art for Metroid Dread is the best.
In this bracket.
Yeah, let's just
in this bracket.
The box art for Metroid Dread won the bracket. We'll just say that. That it won the bracket. We're not gonna, I'm sure there are other box arts that you guys think might be the best Nintendo box art ever, and if that's the case, please let us know down in the comments below. And while you're there, if you're on the comments on the Nintendo Tonight YouTube channel, leave us a fan question, because that's what we're about to talk about next. We have a great fan question actually coming from the Discord from Skonda, asking, do you think the Switch 2 will bundle with a free game, kind of like, in parentheses, they clarify, Wii Sports with the Wii? This is a great question, and one I have not thought about in a while, because we really haven't gotten... We didn't get a bundle packing game with the Switch. Notoriously, 1-2 Switch should have been, but it wasn't. And then also with the Wii U, we didn't really get bundles with that console until it started crazy flopping. And then, like, I bought a Wii U that had, I think, Nintendo Land, New Super Mario Bros. U, and Luigi U all included. Maybe not Nintendo Land, and I bought that extra. But, like, they definitely did pack-in games with the Wii U, and they do some with the Switch, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe during holiday sales. But, do you think one will come, like, inherently with it? I don't think so, no.
I would lean towards no as well, because the Switch didn't have one either. However, the Switch did have 1-2 Switch that came out that same day, and I think there will be a game similar to that, where it's like you've got the Nintendo Lands, the Wii Sports, the 1-2 Switches of the world, which kind of show off like what the console can do. I don't think it'll come with the bundle.
Mac, those are called PPIs. That's a term I just made up. It's
Oh,
called
yeah?
the Party Packing Game. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I
That's
like
clean.
that.
That's off the
Oh,
dome.
we like that.
I'll be here
We
all
like
week.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No, I agree.
my
I think
take...
we'll do one like that.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. That's all I was saying. I agree
Very
with that.
good. I have an interesting idea for this. So, talking about kind of bundling games in here, and Skonda, you brought up Wii Sports. Now, we all know about Nintendo Switch Sports, which, you know, yikes, kind of a flop. But what if we got a sequel and it was packed in? What if? And it was actually good. What if?
I don't even
mean,
want it anymore. I'm
Yeah,
over it.
it's kind of rough. It's kind of rough. Like, I don't really understand on why that game was kind of so bad, and golf took 10 years, and there was like water there to like in Spocko Square to kind of reference.
No,
like,
basketball
ooh,
came
maybe-
out this year. You forget that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's how
they
bad the game
updated
was.
it again.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So what if? I don't know. I doubt it, but that would be kind of a cool callback. But other than that, probably not. And realistically, it's
That
probably
might
going to
be-
be something like the Switch.
That would quite possibly be the biggest middle finger to all the fans who bought Nintendo Switch Sports, though, is, hey, buy
Literally.
this game. It's going to take us 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years to add in all the sports to the game. And then we're just going to, 6 months after we finish adding in all the sports, we're going to announce that it's a pack-in for our next console.
See,
That would
my
be
thought process
hilarious.
behind that was the fact that maybe they're doing like a Mario Sports model where it's like releasing the game quote unquote unfinished and
Yeah.
then like adding in a bunch of these free updates, or even like Mario Party-esque to where it's like Mario Party-esque on the Switch to where it's kind of like, you know, they're releasing like a bunch of different games and they're kind of not bare bones, but they're missing a lot of things. And then, you know, we see kind of with Jamboree here, like we have so many different game modes and features and stuff like that that are looking really good for the game. But, you know, Nintendo Switch Sports 2 coming to the Switch 2 exclusively. Maybe they outdo themselves, but hey,
Yeah.
probably not.
I mean,
It's chalked.
you're probably right. I don't think they're going to do a bundle. The one thing I did want to bring up, though, is we've already talked about Sony and the PlayStation 5 Pro ridiculous price that they've set. But something they have done recently is release Astrobot, or I think that's the name of the game. It's just
Yes.
Astrobot.
That game looks
and
really good, yeah.
Yeah, it is supposedly an incredible 3D platformer. I haven't actually played it yet, but Mac, you can speak to this as the
I've
only
played-
PS5 owner in this call.
Yeah.
They have Astro's Playroom, which
Yeah,
is
so
a
I've played
packing
Astro's
game.
Playroom. I haven't played
yeah.
Astrobot, the one that came out recently, but I played Playroom. Playroom was a really fun game. It was short, like maybe like a 3-hour like thing.
Yeah.
But basically what Astrobot was, or Astrobot's Journey or Playroom, that was basically like a game to show off all the different features of the new, not DualShock, what is it, DualSense? Yeah, DualSense, with like the thing on the front and then like the motion controls of the actual controller. That's what that did, and I could see a very similar thing on the Switch 2. The only difference is that game is a single player game, while I think this one would be like much more of a party
Multiplayer, yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do, like, part of me was thinking, what if they do like a, you know, if they wanted to stick it with the platformer route. I was like, what if they just do one like Mario 3D platformer, but it's like a 3-hour experience and it's a pack-in? And then I'm like, wait, that's Bowser's Fury, so let's not do that. But, you know, it's interesting. But yeah, no, unfortunately, Skanda, to answer your question, I think all three of us agree there will not be a game bundled in for free, but they will probably release a game that should be bundled in, or would make a lot of sense to be bundled in on the same day and charge 40, 50, maybe even $60 for it. So yeah, that's that. And thank you again. Submit more fan questions on the YouTube in the comments, and just put NT question or question in the comments, so we can find it. Perfect. With that out of the way, thank you guys for listening for another whole episode of Nintendo Tonight. This is episode 62. 63 is coming at you next week, next Thursday. Make sure to follow us on all the socials. And yeah, anything else we got to say, boys, or are we all set?
No, I would just get excited for Switch 2 because apparently everybody thinks it's coming.
It is. Dude is such a daily. He's such a Daily Mail hater. Daily Mail best hater.
No, we'll see you guys
next time.
next time.
I bring up some sort of leak to Mac, he's always like, "Did you get that from DailyMail.com?" It's like, no, dude. Like, no. God,
all right, you can get this podcast everywhere except for dailymail.com. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You know, I don't need to tell you where you're listening to the podcast right now. All right, see you guys. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.